Hola amigos, can you hear us? That's the first test here. We want to make sure that the audio is working because we haven't done this in a while. So if you can hear us, give us a thumbs up or something, some sort of message, or you could just say, hey, I can hear you. And let us know, if you can hear us, where you're coming from, where you're watching from right now. Is it coming through? You got audio? Can you hear it? Give us a thumbs up. Okay, turn that to. We'll get a feedback loop. Okay, it sounds like we're coming through. ¿Cómo están? ¿Qué tal? So we're Jim and Mai, for anyone who might be new to the channel. If you saw our last video, you know that we're on a mission to travel to every Spanish-speaking country, and right now is not the best time for doing that sort of thing. As you can see what happened. Who saw the last video? I want to see in the comments who saw that crazy adventure. That was the craziest experience we've ever had. It was, I think my hair is going to turn gray from that experience very soon. Oh, we got Minnesota, North Dakota,
Georgia.
The audio's going through. Awesome.
Mexico. Saludos a Mexico.
Okay. Tony. All right. How's it going, man? Scott from Minnesota, my home state.
People from Puerto Rico too.
Awesome.
De Australia. Wow.
Very cool. We got people tuning in from all over the place. Thanks for joining us, guys. So, how is everyone holding up during this lockdown? I know, well, from what I've heard, not everybody's locked down right now.
Yeah, I think in Mexico just yesterday, the president was like, okay, now it's time to to stay home. But before that, it was like, life goes on as normal.
Yeah, well, we were in Guatemala. The president of Mexico was saying, hay que abrazarnos. We should hug each other. Mm-hmm. That was the mental space he was in, I guess, like a week and a half ago, yeah. Which was really disappointing because he wasn't taking it seriously.
And of course, if the president is not taking it serious, then most people are just not going to. And now that he's like, okay, you have to stay home, I think it's only like 30% of the population is staying home, which is like alarmante.
Yeah, alarming. I think Mexico is probably a week or two behind the US in terms of locking things down, but certainly when we went through Mexico, if you saw the last video, they were not taking it seriously at all. As we mentioned, there was a market going on, and people were just looking at us like we were aliens. Or, yeah. So, what we wanted to talk about today were just, to answer some of your questions about the last video and what was going on and what we experienced and what we are currently experiencing in Puerto Rico. So what we experienced in Guatemala, what we experienced in Mexico going through. There was a lot from the last video that we cut out, but it was already really long, so we tried to cut it down as much as we could without getting rid of any important bits. But let me see here quick. What else? We wanted to talk a little bit more about what's going on here in Puerto Rico right now, because
someone asked, where are you now? We're in Puerto Rico. We live here in San Juan. This is home for us.
We tried really hard to get back, and so it feels extra good to be at home.
Yes.
We've got food and toilet paper and all the important stuff.
We haven't seen any shortage of toilet paper at the store here.
No, the stores seem pretty stocked. I don't know.
Except for alcohol and cleaning stuff.
Yeah, and vitamin C was hard to find for a little bit.
Yeah. But other than that, we've been able to find everything. I see a lot of people saying they're scared. Things are crazy right now, muy loco.
Yeah, casual Expectador says not good. It's really scary here in NYC. I imagine.
Yes.
We were just talking to our friend John Barr from Here Be Bar the other day, and I can't imagine what it's like to be in New York right now. But yeah, we are under the impression from just watching the news that Puerto Rico might be one of the best places to be in the United States right now. And I would preface that by saying it would be really easy for this to be one of the worst places to be because it's an island, but it can also be one of the best places to be also because it's an island. So we're a little bit more separated from the mainland. Well, a lot more separated from the mainland. And by taking certain measures here, I feel like Puerto Rico could be a little safer. And actually the numbers here for confirmed cases are considerably lower if you were to treat Puerto Rico as a state. I think right now there's like 170 some cases, and some states have thousands. And if you're talking about New York, tens of thousands. Tens of thousands, yeah. Sometimes when I'm speaking English, these days, I feel like, is that right? Like I'm forgetting my English sometimes, because most of the time, for those of you who don't know, I speak Spanish at home all day, every day, and most of my life is in Spanish. So sometimes switching to English, I'm like, is that right? Is that a normal thing people say? Yeah. Anyway, I think I'll get back into the groove for a second here.
Let's see. We're gonna do a Q&A at the end of the video here. So if you have any questions, you can start typing them down here in the little chat section. But someone said I have coronavirus. Did I read that right?
Yeah, I thought.
Just tested positive.
Oh no, sorry to hear that. Derek Turner. Man, I hope you get well soon. Stay safe. Self-isolate, obviously. Hopefully you can get any sort of medical attention if you need it.
Eat healthy.
Yeah, we know a few people who have had the virus and are recovering.
Yeah, I feel like right now it's not a time for like drinking at home and just like eating junk food. Like you can do that after. Right now, try to eat healthy food, try to meditate and exercise a little bit if you feel like exercising, getting some sunshine to try to do things that you always say you want to do. Like we always say, oh, I want to do that, and I wish I had the time to do this other thing, like learning Spanish or any other language. Now it's the time. Do that.
All of a sudden, everybody has a lot more time on their hands, I think.
Yes.
Unless you're already working from home, which means you probably are just as busy as ever, because we certainly are. But talking a little bit more about the measures that Puerto Rico has in place here. While we were in Guatemala, I don't remember the day. It was shortly after we arrived. Puerto Rico put a toque de queda, that's what it's called in Spanish, right? Curfew in place from 9 p.m. until 5 a.m. every single day, meaning nobody could be out during that time unless you were going to or from the airport and to the hospital, I assume. And so there was a $5,000 fine in place and up to 6 months in jail if you got caught out during curfew and you weren't going to the airport or to the hospital. Since then, since putting that into place, there have been, I think, something like 400 cases where they have caught people out and given them tickets. So it's like $2 million or something they're collecting. And
now I wonder if, like, do they give you a fine for the $5,000 and jail? Or do they ask, like, what's your preference? Do you have the money? Do you rather go to jail for 6 months or pay this? Because that's a lot of money.
Yeah, I don't know. I always assume that the jail...
Or do you get both?
I assume the jail part would be for people who are just really against following the rules. They're like, no, I don't care. Or maybe they catch you again, then they're like adding that on. I don't know. That seems really extreme. Just the $5,000.
Yes.
But 6 months in jail on top of that, that's a big consequence for being outside. So we haven't gone outside really hardly at all, just for groceries, twice since we got back.
Yes.
And what other measures are they putting in place? Things start to change tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yes.
So the curfew was set until the end of the month, but now they've extended it, I think, until April 12th.
No, I probably beginning of March. I don't know. There is so much information out there that I sometimes confuse. Like if I'm reading something about the U.S., like the mainland, or Mexico, or Puerto Rico, it's just too much sometimes. But I read somewhere. Again, I don't know if it was for Puerto Rico, but they were extending it for until Primero de Mayo.
May 1st?
Yeah.
Yeah, I read till the end of April for a
Maybe
lot
that's
of the
Guatemala.
United States.
I don't know.
But I'm sure they're going to extend it here if they haven't already for April 12th. But what's going to change is that starting tomorrow, the curfew starts at 7 p.m. instead of 9 p.m. and goes until 5 a.m. And you can only be traveling on the island or within the island if your license plate is an even or odd number, and then they've designated certain days that you can be out depending on what your license plate ends in. And so...
And then Sundays, no one is allowed to be outside. Like
that's
everything,
new.
even supermarkets are going to be closed on Sundays.
Yeah.
So that's new too. Everyone should be at home on Sundays.
Yeah, so things are going to be really quiet. I was thinking about maybe doing like a live drone video on the first Sunday where no one can be out, because it'll be really interesting. For those of you who've never been to Puerto Rico before, there's actually a lot of traffic on the island. It's crazy how many cars
Especially
are here.
here in San Juan, like the metropolitan area.
Yeah, so to see all of the streets empty during the day would be a sight to see. So
Because
maybe
right
we'll do
now,
that.
like there is a curfew, and you're only allowed to leave the house for like essential things, like Jim was saying. But I see a lot of cars driving around still, and every time I see a car, I'm like, I'm pretty sure this person is not going to work. Pretty sure that person is not going to the store. Like, what are you guys doing outside?
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, people talk about the corruption on the island, so I kind of wonder if maybe they're like friends of politicians or politicians themselves, just like, oh, I can do whatever I want. You guys let us know what you think, but yeah, just from where we are, we can see a lot of cars that's like, well, the store's right here and they're just driving around, so makes you wonder. But we're not going to risk it. We don't have $5,000 to just risk on driving around just for fun.
Yeah.
As much as we would like to get out and just drive around. And with gas right now is especially cheap.
Yes. Someone said, al momento es hasta el 12 de abril. So, okay, thanks.
Okay.
Yes, here in Puerto Rico, then it's only until April 12th.
At least for now. I imagine they'll extend that.
Yeah.
I see someone mentioned my family said license plate with even number can go up Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I think that's right. We've got it written in over
Sí,
here.
sí.
Yeah. So we're
odd number.
We're Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
Yeah.
Those are the days we can get our grocery shopping done.
Yeah.
Or go to the hospital, I guess. Otherwise, that's it. If we're really sick on a Sunday, we're totally screwed.
No, you can leave your house if you're going to the hospital.
I
Yes.
hope so.
Yes.
Oh,
They might stop you, but
And by the way, you know, when we first got home, we didn't really say it in the video, but we both had phantom symptoms of the virus. We were both worried that we had caught something because we were in contact with
I
so
still feel
many
like
people.
Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Just yesterday, I was like, my throat was like itching, and I feel like that's everyone in the world. Raise your hand if you felt like you have coronavirus in the past 24 hours.
Yeah, throw something in the chat, some
Yes, like a little
hand up.
emoticon.
Yeah, I feel like we're looking for symptoms because we're just so conscious of like potentially
Yes.
having it. Because we were in contact with hundreds, possibly thousands of people on our way from Guatemala to here, and people who had probably been traveling. And so we just tried to take precautions and wear our masks and wash our hands as much as possible. But now it's been, we're on day 11 of quarantine, and we're healthy. Like we've still been working out and like
Yeah.
we're not just like laying in bed all day because
Yeah, like the other day, like after, if I don't exercise for a while and then I exercise and I do something like a little bit more, I don't know, fuerte, heavy, like
Yeah.
more difficult
Yeah.
or hard on my body, then like next day sometimes I feel like I was just run over by like a garbage truck or something. I feel bad sometimes, and sometimes I even have a little bit of a fever like
Yeah.
after like really hard exercise. And I was feeling like that the other day, and I was like, I haven't. And it's like, oh no, you just exercised
Yeah.
and you haven't for a long time.
Yeah.
So yes.
There are a few people who said they've had the phantom symptoms. Tony says
Pollen?
WebMD says it's just cancer, not coronavirus. Okay.
Just-
Not sure what's better at this point.
Yeah.
People might be less afraid of you if it's just cancer.
Yes,
Um,
yes. But then if you have, like, I have always something going on with my nose, like, well, how
Sinus problems. Yeah.
yeah, like I always have like a
Stuffed up nose.
stuffy
Yeah.
nose, yes, and so I'm always like, can't breathe,
Yeah.
coronavirus.
We're 11 days home, self-isolating, and I think, at this point, the chances that we actually have it are pretty low. So we're very careful when we go out.
Toco madera.
Uh-huh. Yeah, knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
It's the same in Spanish. Toca madera.
Toco madera, yes.
Toco madera.
Sí, sí, sí.
Cool. Someone else says pollen season. Oh,
Ah,
Melvin.
Melvin.
Thank you so much.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you for that super chat. That really, really helps us out. As we mentioned in the video the other day, right now is a difficult time for a lot of creators because no one's buying anything, so advertising rates are way down, and like that cuts into YouTube revenue. And usually we have our Spanish immersion retreats, which we've had to postpone, obviously, because no one should be traveling right now. So thank you very much.
Yes, just in case we need some medicine.
No, that would come in handy. So.
Yeah, we're gonna save it for toilet paper if it ever starts going
Out of stock.
out
Yeah.
of stock. Yes.
So yeah, those are some of the changes that are coming up. We're healthy for now. I'm really happy that Puerto Rico is taking this seriously. I have been watching the news probably a little bit too much. I would love to hear if you guys are starting to feel the effects of like just the anxiety from maybe reading the news. I think it's starting to have an effect on me, but just reading the news, it seems that right now Puerto Rico is getting new cases at a considerably much lower rate than the rest of the United States. It seems like most places are running around like the exponential 33% a day, and it seems like Puerto Rico right now has been, between like 15 and 20%. Don't quote me on those numbers exactly, but when I was checking just the difference between today and yesterday and the day prior, it seemed like things are spreading a little slower here. So I definitely see those numbers increasing because they have been. I mean, just like a week ago when we got home, there was like 8 cases, I think.
Yeah, there was.
And now there's like 127. So that was the last number I saw for Puerto Rico today.
Someone said you guys should stay here in PR. We're staying.
Oh yeah, we're totally staying. We'll be here.
Yeah, like we
For
said at the
quite a
beginning of the
while.
video. Yeah, Puerto Rico is our home.
Yeah.
We moved here a year ago. We were not here during the summer, but we came back in November.
Yeah.
And we've been here
Yeah.
ever since.
And we run a travel channel, so yeah, we go out and we want to visit every Spanish-speaking country, as we've mentioned, but this is our home base. I'd say if this wasn't going on right now, we'd probably be planning some trips coming up in the coming months, but right now everything is just on the back burner until things settle down. So yeah, we titled this is this the safest place, or what is the safest place to be in the U.S. right now? I think Puerto Rico might be one of the safest places, but I'd love to hear what you guys think. Maybe some like remote town in Alaska would be a good place.
Yeah.
But then, there's rumors, don't like to talk about rumors with this because it could spread like, you know, misinformation, but a lot of people are saying that it just seems to be as a trend that in the warmer areas of the world that the virus has been spreading much slower. So
I have a theory.
Yeah.
I think it's because when it's cold, then your like your body temperature is lower, so your immune system is a little bit weaker.
maybe.
So you
Yeah.
like in the winter, everybody has like a cold and you know all kinds of diseases, and they spread more in the winter because most of us are more vulnerable.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do we have any scientists? Oh yeah, we have at least one scientist in the chat. I saw Tony's here. Maybe you can weigh in on this. Maybe that's not his specialty.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing is, it's like you could say, well, the sun kills it, but viruses aren't actually living organisms. Like a lot of what I've read is that viruses.
They need like a living thing.
Well, it's like a, I don't know. This is really geeky, but I would compare it to like a virus on a computer, right? It's like something that goes in and infects without even noticing. It's not like a living thing. It just like it gets inside you and then starts feeding in information, like self-replicate. So I don't know.
Ew.
Yeah. So it doesn't actually die. I don't know.
I don't know, because then you can also get it if you touch like I don't know, a button on the elevator that someone touched with like dirty hands if they had it.
Yeah,
so.
but you can destroy it with, you know, a soap. I mean, it has that outer, what was it? It's like
coating,
a fat.
It's
like a fat coating around it, and that's why soap will cut through that and then basically make it so it can't infect. But anyway, I don't want to talk too much about that because, you know, I'm not an expert. But someone said 174 cases, 6 deaths. Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
I think maybe I said 172, but yeah, I have a
Should
page
we do
that's like refreshing.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that what we had next in the agenda?
Well.
Oh yeah, we're talking a little bit about what we're doing. We wanted to talk about what we're doing to pass the time. Obviously, working on the channel here, we're working on a lot of new content. We have a number of videos that we recorded before all of this started, and so we're not going to just turn into like a V-word channel. I was trying to not say the word. YouTube doesn't like, supposedly, the virus word. Like if they pick up on you talking about it, like some people are saying they're demonetizing videos that way, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens with this one. But yeah, we're not going to turn into a Corona channel.
No. Or like a news channel because.
Right. Yeah. So we're working on some other videos to, you know, help you with your Spanish and help inspire you to travel. Hopefully we can all travel again soon enough when this is all over. But some of the other things we're doing to pass the time is to exercise, meditate each day. That's really helped with the mental health. I really enjoy when we can get out just on the property of the building here and walk around for a little bit.
Yes.
That would be good if we could do that after this video. It's very relaxing just to be in motion and not sitting down in one spot.
Yeah.
How about you guys?
Yeah.
What are you doing to pass the time at home? Brett says UV destroys it. Okay, cool. That's kind of what I was thinking. And that would make sense with like the warmer places, because then anytime the sun's shining down, it would just be killing any surfaces where maybe somebody sneezed or like touched an area. Someone else said the sun and humidity decrease the life of the virus on surfaces. Thank you, C. Smiggy. Someone asked, how do you donate? That's a good question. I think you go to where you would leave a comment, and then there's a little emoji face, and then there's a show your support for Spanish and Go. So if you feel so inclined, you're more than welcome. Thank you for the thought. Tony says viruses are not ever alive, so they don't die. You can just destroy it. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's what I was reading too. Thank you for chiming in.
Like a zombie.
Our resident scientist in the
yes,
in
thanks,
the forum.
Tony. Let's see if we have any questions.
Oh yeah. Paul Wilson said, "I'm new to your channel. I would love to know your story." Can we do a quick elevator story?
Okay, so I was born. No, we met in 2010 online because he wanted to learn Spanish and I wanted to practice my English. So we met on a website, not a dating website, a language learning website. And then we started chatting pretty much every day. Back then, Skype was like the Zoom of today,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
everybody was using Skype, so we were Skyping pretty much every day until he was gonna have some time off and I was gonna have vacation for my job. I was teaching and it was like the spring break vacation thing we teachers have. And then
We met up in person. I went
In
to Mexico
Mexico.
for the first
Mhm.
time. We hit it off. And
yeah, I'm from Mexico, he's from Rochester, Minnesota.
Yeah, we jumped ahead a little bit, I guess,
Yeah.
but can't tell the whole story. You can check out some of our other videos where we talk about that sort of thing. But yeah, and then we decided, you know what, we really had a passion for traveling. Mai showed me around different parts of Mexico, and
So yeah, it was like a teacher and a tour guide, and I thought it was really cool. And then we decided to do something together, and we started recording a podcast that we never released. We did like 10 episodes with like worksheets and all of that for people to practice their Spanish and read along, and then activities. And we never released that because we got married, we moved to the States, and then we started saving money. We decided to start a YouTube channel instead of the podcast. But now we want to bring the podcast back.
yeah, so that will be coming up soon.
Yes.
So yeah, long story short, basically we made this channel to inspire you to travel to different Spanish-speaking countries, learn a new language, and because we know firsthand that it is a life-changing experience. It can really open up a lot of doors for you and lead to a much more enriching life. So that's kind of our story in a nutshell.
In like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Another question. Let's see. We should probably scroll up a little bit. You can look a little bit.
How good at Spanish should I be before immersion? That's a good question.
Yeah, that is a really good question. So if you're talking about like our immersion retreats, we recommend that you at least read the Margarita Madrigal's book for learning Spanish. You can, maybe Mike can put that in the chat. That will give you a good foundation for learning, and maybe listen to a podcast that they have like 100% Spanish conversations, and then maybe
We just found
where they have a resource.
one that's really good.
Yeah, actually, in our newsletter today that we just put out, which is usually full of really good tips, so if you want to sign up for that, you can go to our website and sign up for the newsletter. We usually send out an update every week or two, but we just talked about in the newsletter that went out today a podcast called Radio
Ambulante.
Yeah, Radio Ambulante. Radio Ambulante.
Yes.
Yeah, and you can listen to that podcast. It's all in Spanish, and they have transcripts. If you're just starting out, that might be a little bit too much at first, but again, start with the Madrigal's book. That's step one. And then I'd say if you're going to Mexico on your own, once you get through that book, I think it's a good chance to say if you want to go on a trip to Mexico, you could go and use what you learned from that book to start out. Or join us on a Spanish immersion retreat when we start those again.
And for our retreats, we really don't have like, you have to be this level. We're very lucky to be working with other teachers who help us with the lessons. So we have lessons all together, and then we break down in smaller groups according to your level, where we can focus more on the things that you need to work on. So yeah, pretty much any level if you're coming with us.
Dennis, thank you very much for the super chat. I
Thank
appreciate
you,
that.
Dennis.
Thanks a lot.
Let's see.
Next question. Trying to go up a bit because
I
there's some
know.
questions from earlier.
Dennis, if you have a question, let us know. Right here. Thank you again for the super chat. say plaga instead of virus. Yes, that's a good replacement.
Plaga.
Plaga.
Yeah. Good idea.
La
Good
plaga.
idea.
Thank you.
It's really difficult to talk
Melvin.
about these things without actually saying certain words. But
Yeah.
we tried to avoid a number of words in the last video, if anyone noticed.
Jim, how did your parents react to your frantic travels to get home?
Well, I think my mom is in the chat room, so maybe she could tell you. Actually, my dad was really laid back. I was kind of telling him about what was going on, and he's just like, well, if you need anything, let me know. We basically had it under control, even though it was very, very stressful.
Yes.
But my mom was much more concerned about
And you know
us
what?
getting
I
out.
feel like we have very different relationships with our parents. Like, I love my parents and I like to stay in touch with them. But with your mom, like, everything that was going on, you were telling her. And then for my mom, I was like, I don't want to tell her like all the details, like, we're trapped here, we don't know what to do, because I didn't want to worry her, or I didn't want to make her worry.
Right.
So I was like, just trying, like, my mom would email us or no, text us, message us like, hey, how are you guys doing in Guatemala? Is everything all right there? And I was like, yeah, we're doing well. And then he would be like, we're stuck. And I'm like, no, don't say that to my mom. So yes, I try not to make my mom worry. But with your mom, it's like we tell her everything. So
yeah, I think that's funny when there's something that happens that maybe isn't like the best news. Mai will be like, don't tell my mom.
Yet. I mean, I always tell her after. I always call her, but it's
when the
like,
time is right.
At the moment, I'm always like, maybe not right now.
That's funny.
We have another super chat for the podcast.
Thank you very much.
Hear it.
That really helps. Thank you very much.
Yes, we are really excited about that. We're gonna start. We wanted to release it this month, but we only have one day. I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But we are really excited to record the episodes. We posted a little ¿cómo se llama? Como en cuando votas, a poll
A poll.
on Patreon for people to help us decide the first one of the first episodes that we're going to be releasing. And so we are really excited.
Yeah, that's coming very soon. I mean, like next 2 weeks max. That's what I would say. Yeah.
So thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you very much, Pep. Oh, another super
one.
chat. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
You're very, very generous. Generous. Wow, I can't speak. Goes back to the English thing I was talking about.
You're forgetting.
Thank you very much. Pep says, I was a guy who got back from Nicaragua just before you all did from Guatemala, so I had some Nicaraguan
Cordobas
left over to spare. Seriously glad you're well and safe. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you. Yes,
Wow.
we hope that your trip to Nicaragua went well.
Can't wait to visit there someday.
Yes.
One of our guides in Guatemala, she was from Nicaragua.
Yes,
right?
yes. Mm-hmm.
So looking forward to checking out that area someday, and hopefully we can get back to Guatemala to really get to know the country better.
Yeah, I feel bad we didn't really get to explore as much as we wanted to, but we did record some things. We're gonna find a way to make a video or two about our experience there in Guatemala and the company we were working with, which was Niños de Guatemala and also World Packers. Really cool companies.
Yeah. Definitely check out World Packers when things get a little bit better. And Niños de Guatemala, if you ever want to volunteer for a worthy cause, we love the program. I hope we can go back and spend more time with them and actually get a chance to volunteer, because all we really got was like the introduction to the program and get to see a little bit about how the schools were run. But very, very cool program. Melvin, thank you so much. Well,
since there is two of you.
You're very kind. That really means a lot.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have, which country or leaders are you looking to in order to determine when it's safe to start up your immersion retreats again?
Oh, yeah. So we haven't talked about it too much. We always just thought, okay, when things start kind of calming down, but that could really be a while. What I'm looking for is when the number of cases per day starts going down.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean like, oh, we're going to schedule one for, 2 weeks from then. That means maybe, I don't know, I'd say 4 to 6 months after that.
I feel like no one really knows,
Yeah.
right? Like how can you predict that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So
Yeah, but when the numbers start going down a bit, I would feel a lot more comfortable about planning the next one. I really hope that we can make up the ones that we had to postpone this year later this year.
like during the fall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it seems like the expert opinions are all over the place, from this is going to affect everyone throughout the summer to some people saying that it could last until the end of the year. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not an expert, but it just seems like since the brunt of it seemed to last in China for like 3 months, I would assume that hopefully 3 months in the U.S.
4 in Mexico because
Yeah.
no.
would be enough for things to start getting better.
Yeah.
And then hopefully in September, well, maybe not September, October, November, December, we could look at rescheduling.
We have ¿cuáles son sus frutas nativas favoritas? From Puerto Rico, we tried, I don't know if they're nativas of here, but I had never tried them before. The little...
Quenepas?
Las quenepas, they were weird, but
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah, those are really good.
Yeah, quenepas are like this big, round, small little things that you kind of like open. They're so weird to explain. It's like you break like the outer
layer.
Yeah, and then you separate it, but then it's like have you ever seen a rambutan? It looks kind of like a grape, like soft, but those ones have like a big seed, and you only eat like the flesh around the seed, and then you throw the seed away. But they were good but weird.
Yeah.
We also tried hobos. Is that a fruit?
Hobos.
Like it's very similar to what in Mexico we call ciruela, but it was bigger.
Okay.
And it had like a lot of little strings. Like
Yeah, I'm trying to remember when we tried that.
we were living in Rio Grande.
Oh, okay.
And our neighbor gave us some.
Oh, that's right.
And
yeah.
the bananas here they're everywhere and they're really good. Our neighbor also gave us some bananas from his garden, and they were small but very sweet.
What else? Yuca?
Panapen.
Panapen. Oh yeah, that's
Panapen.
really,
We had never tried panapen before, and we have a couple of friends who live in Las Marias, and they have panapen trees, and they made some, I don't know, it was like a stew, kind of like a soup but thicker with panapen, and it was really, really good.
Yeah, I really like that too.
Yes.
Is that what they call breadfruit in English?
Yes.
Panapen.
Yes.
And it grows all over the place. They say it's one of those foods that could feed the world easily because it just grows on a tree, requires very little maintenance, and it grows a ton of food. Tons of fruits, and you can turn that into soup and all kinds of...
It's kind of like a potato,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's so good.
A potato that grows on a tree.
Yes.
Some of them get like this big.
And the trees also get really tall. Yes, hobos, that's the name of the fruit. And it was really good. It was very different. They didn't taste like the ciruelas in Mexico. It tasted more like, I don't know. It was a combination of different fruits, like a mango and kind of like a star fruit also.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I love trying different fruits and vegetables here, and I would love to have a piece of land here where we could grow our own food. We have a couple of friends on the island who do have some of their own land, and they grow all the food that they eat mostly for themselves.
Parcha has always been one of Jim's favorite. Yeah, parcha is really good too. We love it.
Also known as maracuya.
Maracuya, yes.
Or there's one other word for it too, right? Another name.
yes, but I can think of it.
Yeah, I can't think of it either. I like maracuya. That sounds so tropical and exotic.
Yes.
That's what I usually call it, but here it's parcha.
They also make tostones with panapen. Yes, I don't think we've tried them, have we?
Tostones?
De panapen.
Oh, de panapen? No, I don't think so.
No, we're gonna have to try after the cuarentena.
Yeah. Shiloh asks if we ever plan to come to Russia. I don't think we've ever talked about visiting Russia before. Maybe someday.
Is it too cold?
Well, yeah. Where do you recommend?
It sounds like it's too
Or
cold.
what time of year should we go to not be cold?
Yes. ¿Qué me pasa? Let's see. Do you guys have any other questions here?
There was
Let us know.
something else I wanted to mention. So, you guys are very diverse. Those of you who watch the channel, there's kind of a divide between people who just want to see the travel stuff and people who are learning Spanish. Some people watch us here from Puerto Rico and they speak Spanish and English. And so what we would like to do is maybe while all of this is going on, we could have a live feed on Mondays that would just be like general Q&A, talk about travel stuff.
Kind of like today, maybe.
Yeah.
A little less related to La Plaga.
And another day where we do like a Spanish lesson or like a Spanish games that we could play with you guys. So something that would be
vocabulary,
interactive.
yeah.
Could
Maybe
be-
reading something together.
Could be like hangman also. We
Yeah.
could say, hey, this word has 5 letters and it has to do with La Plaga.
Fruits, yeah.
And you guys would guess, and
Yeah.
we could do something like that. So maybe we could do like Mondays and Fridays sort of thing. I don't know. If you guys are interested in that, let us know in the chat if you would want to do, if you're more interested in like the Spanish one, and say what day of the week would work best for you, or maybe even a time of day if that would work. And then yeah, with the general stuff, if you guys are interested in that, just say Mondays work or whatever. Gives us a little more time that we can spend with you guys and help you pass the time while all of this is going on. As we were talking about earlier, this is a great time for self-improvement. Like you can learn another language, you can learn a new skill. There's so much you can do inside. Thankfully, we have the internet and we can stay connected that way. So.
And I also wanted to say, like, if you're watching the news or like consuming a lot of information about the plague, give yourself some time to not think about that, to meditate. I don't know if what's like your belief, just breathing and try to put your mind in like white and breathe. That is just needed right now. You can't be all the time like worrying and like giving yourself anxiety and stress. Just try to relax too and take advantage of the time that we have right now to be home and rest. We're always complaining like we're so busy. Relax right now.
It sounds kind of silly, like, well, breathe. Of course, I'm breathing all the time, but I definitely notice that when I'm stressed out, my breaths are much shorter. So it's just huge relief to take a complete breath and relax for a little bit. So
someone here, where was it? Do they have drive-through testing sites there? I read somewhere that they were going to, but
I actually don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
That is the other side of the coin. So when I said earlier, Puerto Rico could be one of the worst places to be if things get really bad here because of how isolated it is. So on the one hand, isolation can keep people healthy, and as long as people are staying inside and not spreading it, things would be okay. But I also read that there's a very low number of respirators or ventilators on the island. The number I read today, I don't even want to say it because it seemed way too low and like scary low. But hopefully people can stay inside and slow the spread of this. So what else? Melvin, I'm bilingual. Are you from Puerto Rico? I thought you mentioned something about being from here, Melvin?
I think so.
Okay, awesome. I'd love to know where you're from, because we'll probably do, or where you're from on the island, because we plan on doing a meetup eventually. Once this is over, we're planning on doing it in the winter. We just got so busy. But we want to do a meetup on the island soon for sure. Well,
so I'm reading something here
relative.
that I think there is like a drive-through place
where you can get tested,
but
okay.
yeah, it's not like a newspaper or anything. It's a blog post, so I'm not sure.
Someone says, "Hola de Tulum. I wonder how the situation is in Tulum." That's not too far from where some of your family lives.
Yeah.
My has family in Playa del Carmen, and we actually lived there before. Her dad lives there, and her sister lives there. Someone says, "Hangman sounds fun, and honestly, being stuck indoors any day works. Thank you both." Muchísimas gracias.
We were coming back through Mexico City on March 11. Was that a day ahead of you? 11. Yeah, that was a day ahead of us. No, that's when we left.
What? The 11th?
March 11. We left Puerto Rico to go to Guatemala at night on March 11.
No, well, I think it was technically after midnight.
Yeah.
I think we left at like
But we
12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning on the 12th.
Did we go through Mexico City?
No, we went to Orlando.
Yes. No.
Yeah.
See.
Yeah, we were in Orlando. It was so sad. So I think we cut this part from the video,
Yes.
but we were in Orlando on the 12th, and that was, we went to one of the lounges there, and there were a bunch of kids dressed up to go to, I always forget, is it Disney World?
Yeah.
Disney World is in Florida, Disneyland is in California.
I think so. Yes.
Okay. Disney World. And they look so excited. Like,
with their,
what kid would not be?
Dresses and like their hairstyles, hairdos.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so we're getting ready to get on our next flight and read the news. Oh, Disney just shut down all their parks.
So
How do you
sad.
explain that to the little kids who are all ready to go to Disney World?
Yes, and who has probably been like, don't do that because I'm not gonna take you to.
Yeah, for a year,
For
the last year, like
months.
next year I'm gonna take you to Disney World, so you better behave. And then,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Grig's work is making parts for ventilators. Awesome, that's good. I think we'll probably need a lot of those. Hopefully
Yeah.
not here. But,
No.
well, hopefully nowhere. But it'd be
Hopefully
good.
nowhere.
It's better to have too many than too few, for sure.
Where are you guys living now on the island? We're in San Juan. We're in San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Melvin says she lives in Springfield now and is from Arecibo. Ah, we were really debating on moving to Arecibo. It just seemed like a great location to be kind of not too in the city and not too far from like the West Coast, which we really love, and it's sort of between two airports in Aguadilla and San Juan. So
Yeah.
we hope to get to know that city more.
Dice.
Someone asked how old we are.
How old do you
I always
think
like
we
people
are?
I always want people to guess, like, how old do you think we are?
We're not that young.
Well, we're not that old.
But we're not that old, yes.
You guess, and then we'll answer. How about that?
It says...
Okay, someone clarified, yeah, Disneyland, California, Disney World, Florida. I can never keep track of that. I mean, what's a good way to remember? Because California is a massive state, so I'm like, that should be Disney World. It's in the big state, and then land would be, like in Florida.
I don't know.
But now I'm going to confuse myself.
Yes.
Pinguinito. That is a joke that goes back to the Vlogmas.
The Vlogmas.
Yeah.
Yes, so how old are we? People are not guessing.
No one's
I
guessing.
am 30.
No, someone to guess 22, 24. That's a really good guess. It's very, very close to.
No, I'm 30. He's gonna be 33 in 1 week.
Yep.
Yeah.
Birthday's coming up on the 4th.
April 4th, and we're gonna be in quarantena.
Yeah. But I have to be thankful because last year I was totally convinced that I was turning 33 last year.
Yes.
So I almost lost a year.
Almost.
Not even realizing it. I jumped ahead. But yeah,
Yes.
33 this year.
See.
So, someone guessed 36 and 36. That's not very nice. No. Just kidding.
30 something. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Do we have any more questions?
Yeah, we'll probably wrap things up. We talked about having more of these. We didn't get too much of a response about Spanish or English. Just somebody, if you want to like type travel Q&A or Spanish lessons. Just leave that in the comments and then we'll kind of get a feel of how many people watching right now are interested in what. That would be interesting. Because we'll definitely be giving more Spanish practice with the podcast, which we plan to have it 99% Spanish, aside from, like the intro, basically. So, and obviously Spanglish comes up more and more these days because pretty much any like technology word, Spanish just adopts. It's really funny to me, especially in Puerto Rico, you hear a lot of Spanglish, but then, anywhere else too, people talk about, the mouse of their computer, and it's the same word in Spanish. It's like Spanish just decided to not come up with their own word for mouse, like the computer mouse. But that's not true. There's the raton.
Raton, yeah.
Raton is actually the mouse, but most people just say mouse.
Just say mouse.
They don't say raton.
So
wow, 1,000 what? We had over 1,000. It was like $1,198 in canceled flights from the last trip. Hopefully we can get straightened out, but I don't know if any of you have had to deal with the airlines lately, but it's impossible to get through to anyone, even the credit card companies, because people are trying to dispute flights and trying to use their card insurance. It's really difficult to get a hold of anybody related to the travel industry right now.
Someone said, I'm moving to Puerto Rico soon. Any advice? Manatee area. Manatee is not too far from the metro area.
Oh, yeah.
No, enjoy. We really love the weather here. I mean, right now everything is closed because of the noise outside, so it's a little hot.
Yeah, we always shut the door when we're recording,
But Puerto Rico is so beautiful, and just having the beaches all around you, no matter where you go to, if you love like humidity and this kind of weather, and then the people are like so friendly. So yeah, I think that if you are into the like tropical vibe, you're gonna love it.
Yeah.
Yes. Except the roads.
Yeah. The roads are something else here. Tim Trout Productions said world. You can think of the ORL in the middle of world for Orlando. That's a good way to remember. World with Orlando. Thank you for that. That'll probably help me remember. I think I'll probably remember from now on. I saw another question. Someone said learning Spanish. Great. We'll definitely have more Spanish videos coming up soon.
I love Spanglish, someone said.
Yeah.
We do that a lot.
Yeah. Somebody said, there was a question and I'm trying to get back. What was it? Someone asked for advice on moving here.
Eso que dije, ¿no? That's the one I said. Advice.
Okay.
Yeah, we lost the questions. Like sometimes there are so many comments that like the questions they get lost and it moves.
Mm-hmm. Living here in Puerto Rico, what would you suggest I begin learning first besides basic conversation stuff? Ooh.
For someone living in Puerto Rico?
Yeah, so with the channel, with our videos especially, we try to do real world situational stuff, so things that you probably need on a day-to-day basis. We always say it's travel Spanish, but I mean, what it comes down to is it's stuff that you would use on in everyday situations, from shopping to ordering food. those are the sorts of things that really help to focus on. First, we actually have a playlist that just focuses on that aspect of Spanish.
Which we call travel Spanish.
So if you look for that playlist, you'll see a number of videos where we're showing real world situations where we actually, in most cases, didn't even announce that we were coming. We just set up our cameras and started recording the situation with our microphones and everything to show you what it's really like. So I would focus on that, and then focus on things like filler words and how to ask questions. Like often it comes down to not understanding something, so you want to be able to know how to respond. Like
listening is so important to, like, even if you don't understand everything going on, like in a conversation or when you're watching a movie, it's very useful to train your ear to listen to the way the Spanish or the language is spoken. Because yes, most people here on YouTube, most videos are meant for people who are studying the language, so they are a little bit slower, so that the words and phrases are clear. But that's why we also, like, from the day we decided that we wanted to have a podcast, it's just because we know how important it is for people to listen and train your ear. Even if you're not getting 100% of like the words and their meanings, you have to train your ears. So listening is very important. And like if you're here in Puerto Rico, we haven't found like a lot of resources that are geared to people who move to Puerto Rico and who want to learn Puerto Rican Spanish, because even like you can say whatever you want, it is different to like Mexican Spanish and I don't know, Guatemalan, Costa Rican Spanish. It's all so different, but there aren't as much resources that are focused on like Puerto Rican Spanish.
I would say go to italki.com and look for a Dominican teacher. Last time I checked, there were no Puerto Rican teachers, but the accent from the Dominican Republic is very similar to the accent in Puerto Rico, just generally speaking, and so that's a good way to practice with somebody who speaks like people sort of speak here.
Yeah. Also, what's the name of this island in Spain, which is also very similar to the Spanish here in Puerto Rico?
Oh, Andalusia.
Andalusia, yes. So if you know anyone from Andalusia, or if you find a teacher from there, it's also very similar to Puerto Rican Spanish.
Yeah. Guess we'll have to wait till Monday to wish Jim a happy birthday. Pues gracias. I'm gonna turn 33, not 34, so just to clarify. Is it hard to find a job in Puerto Rico? Everything we've heard is yes, and it's incredible because I've heard it's difficult for people to find a job even if you're bilingual. And you're going to want to be bilingual if you're getting a job here, if you're going to work with the general public, because the general public is, I mean, there's a variety.
No, you don't have to really be bilingual, but
I'd say most people, if you're in the service industry, you're going to deal with people who don't speak Spanish, and you're going to deal with people who mostly speak Spanish and maybe not as much English. There's definitely a mix of, like the younger generations being fully bilingual, not just the younger generations. I mean, we've met a number of people who are, one generation older than us who speak English and Spanish perfectly well. But yeah, it is difficult. I'd recommend if you're moving here and you're looking for a job to start looking at jobs online. So.
See, yeah, and the internet is really good here.
Yeah, that makes it a lot easier. Obviously, we've been able to stream without any hiccups.
For the first time.
Yeah, probably the first time ever. We've had no issues.
No issues. Las Islas Canarias, sí.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Very similar accent there, too.
Yes, very similar accent.
Okay.
Yo no veo nada más.
Jomin dice, hola. I think we're going to wrap it up. Muchas gracias.
Thank you guys for joining us.
We'll be announcing when we'll do another one of these. We'll just kind of play it by ear and see how things go. Maybe we'll do another one like this on next Monday, and then we'll do some Spanish-focused stuff on Friday. If you want to stay in the loop, be sure to hit the bell. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. We're going to be talking a lot about more travel videos and more Spanish lessons, so that's a good way to stay notified when we announce more Q&As. And if you definitely want to make sure that you get the notifications and you want Spanish tips delivered straight to your inbox, you can go to our website, SpanishAndGo.com, and sign up for our newsletter there.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining us. Let us know. I think the chat disappears like after a few minutes. The video is done, but if you have any questions, you can type them in the comments, like on the video, not the chat, the video, and then we can save those for the next live video we're doing.
Is there anything else we wanted to mention?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot. Stay tuned. Until next time.
Adios.
Hasta luego. Nos vemos. Oh, we got one more super chat. Melvin, thank you so much. Buy yourself some canepas. They're full of vitamins. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you very much.
Que tengas una buena noche. Adios.